Now for the main event. In front of you is the teacher who will represent Canyons District and in the state and hopefully the national competition for Teacher of the Year. Our overall winner, who will receive gifts and prizes, as well as the $1,000 cash gift from the Canyons Education Foundation, has forged a relationship with students and they feel completely safe in his room, consistently promotes positive behaviors and opportunities to respond in class, and has mastered the mechanics and the art of teaching. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and supporters, the 2017 Canyons District Teacher of the Year is Drew Fosse. Okay. Mr. Fosse, would you come up on the stage, please? You can give your $1,000 check to anyone in the front row. They'll be glad to take it. Congratulations, Drew. He's given a hug to his family members. Drew is a teacher at Union Middle School. As you know, Union has had a pretty tough year, but they were made strong by the amazing teachers there. Drew leads that pack. Now let's turn our attention to the screen to see Mr. Fosse in action in his classroom.
Drew's class, it's work hard and play hard.
Chicken in that chicken McNugget is one type of resource, please, you won't go.
He comes from a special ed background and a kind of specialized residential treatment background, and so he's really, really good at the scaffolding and the other parts and pieces that you need to get those kids who get left behind.
Nice work, excellent job.
Years of having students who were very difficult to motivate, who were actively suicidal or actively self-harming, you find ways to remain positive even when you run into sad stuff.
The thing that I've loved about watching his class is that really every kid in that class feels comfortable to participate.
I want them to feel that it's better to go ahead and open up your mouth and realize that, yeah, you might look stupid, but it doesn't matter. Each Friday we do Friday karaoke, which is the silliest, lamest activity you've ever seen. But students who will stand up and do it with us and sing, and now a lot of them will do it. I'm a terrible singer, most of us are terrible singers. But when they do it, they hit that awakening moment of, I looked dumb for a few minutes, and it didn't matter. And the real difficult part about high school that I always saw was that students were usually reinforced and recognized when they were good at sports or they were standout students, and not everyone is those things.
And this is one of the best things that I think I've learned from him this year, is finding the ways to motivate the kids that maybe otherwise wouldn't be, or to include those kids who sometimes kind of get glossed over or left behind.
Good, and if we give up something to get something else, we're talking about it. Killing it, Paige, killing it.
There's the same high expectation for everyone. Everyone participates, everyone learns the material, everyone is able to verbally express and write what they're learning. And it's like the whole class rises together.
And so much of what I do, and even on my drive home, is thinking, how do these students, whether they're coming from an accommodated core, an ELD background, or they're my gen ed students, or they're a special ed student in the general ed classroom, how do we make them feel not just comfortable, how do we make them feel like they want to be brave enough to try something?
Almost become a running joke in our school that when we're talking about good teaching, we're talking about the way Fosse would do it.
To be recognized by Canyons District, which has done a great job of motivating me and making me feel valuable here, it's an honor that I honestly, when I tell you, I don't think I've cried in like 3 years, because I just don't like to do it. And then the moment they're like, hey, you're Teacher of the Year, and you act like a big baby, I mean, it's a huge honor for me. It's very moving.
In that clip, Mr. Fosse was seen saying, "You're killing it, Paige, you're killing it." Well, we're here to say tonight that, Drew, you're killing it in the classroom. We would like to ask Mr. Fosse to say a few words about being the Teacher of the Year for Canyon School District in 2017. Kill it, Drew.
I got a mic, I could wander around. We didn't have to stay here. We could move on. We could karaoke if you guys really wanted to. I've been wanting to give a speech my whole life. That's a problem. You watch a war movie, you don't want the guy giving the speech who wants to give the speech. You want like the grizzled old general. He's like, he doesn't really want to give it, but he gives it, and everyone's like, yeah, that's the speech. The guy who wants to give the speech, but I've always wanted to give a speech. I've just never had anyone listening to do it. This is the greatest honor I've ever received, and holy cow. Before I go any farther, I probably should talk to my wife about this first, but I've just been thinking about it a lot. And I'd like to find a way to donate that check to the family of Gretchen Murray. My sister was diagnosed with breast cancer earlier this year, and her whole community has just really bopped up around her and supported her, and thinking of the kids she has at home. I'd like to find a way to donate that over, and just, she seems like such an inspiration, so. Now, if you'll give me just like 30 seconds, I'll quit crying. And then I won't cry for like 5 more years. I can do it. I promise I can do it. A few weeks ago, I was to our early morning Friday meetings, and I came down the off-ramp on 90th, and it was icy, and I was going too fast. And as I started to come to a stop, I slid, and I was about to hit the car in front of me. And so I made the decision to pull off into the embankment. I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. And my car, which you could never tell if it wrecked or not because it's a piece of garbage, went into the embankment there and got all damaged up and everything. And while I sat there, within 5 minutes, a gentleman had stopped, and he said, "Hey, let me see if I can pull you out." His car wasn't quite strong enough. So another guy stopped with a truck. They hooked me up to the back of their winch, and they pulled me out together, and we sat there in the snow by the side of it as we were getting ready to go. And I said, "You guys, thank you so much. I'm trying to get over to Union Middle School. I teach over there." And the first gentleman said, "Oh, my name's Alan Kendall. I teach over at Mount Jordan." "Oh, thank you. Nice to meet you." And the other guy said, "Oh, I'm not a teacher. My name's Brian Allred. I work over at Canvas. I do all of your software." And it was a really eye-opening moment for me. Just that reminder that teachers are people who are not motivated by those moments. Teaching is not what it is in movies. It's not standing up and giving an impassioned diatribe every day. Teachers are the ones who, for little moments, are just looking for some little bit of good that they do. And you guys, you do so good. I've read about you. I've read about the things you do. You're so inspiring. Starting the band over at Alta, I mean, that's so fantastic. The Secret Santa that you did for that family. You guys are fantastic, and you're wonderful. And I hope you hear that. You're all just tremendous, wonderful teachers. The last thing I'll say, and then I promise I'll get down from here, is just in our adult lives, we really don't have that many opportunities where we hear what we're doing good. For a lot of us, our bosses talk to us when we mess up. Not mine. My boss is fantastic. She really is. She's wonderful. Now, my boss is just terrific. But a lot of jobs I've worked before, your bosses come see you when you do something wrong. Your bosses come see you. Oh, I think I died out here. They want to tell you that you have made a mistake. And most of us know we're doing something all right. Most of us have a good suspicion that we're doing something good. But we just want someone else to validate it. And I hope you all feel validated. I certainly do. I just want to thank you. There's a couple quick thank yous and I'll get off the stage. I want to thank first of all, I want to thank Canyons District. As I looked around for a job a couple years ago coming out of some more specialized residential programs, Canyons was the district that made me feel wanted. They made me feel motivated, and it has not stopped. From having the superintendent there from the first day of teacher orientation and telling us bits of wisdom and things to look out for, to throughout training as I went into the special ed classroom at first, a constant training, constant support, and teacher coaches. I I had no idea what teacher coaches were. I'd been out of this game in the public school for like 8 years, and they are the best things. They just spend their whole day trying to make you do better. I want to thank my administration who took a chance on me coming out of a specialized curriculum and giving me a shot and then taking a chance on me again to go back in the general ed classroom. I want to thank my dad and my mom, my best friends, who first taught me what it means to feel reinforced, to have a reinforcement schedule that makes you feel wanted and makes you feel good. I want to thank my best friend Colby Zimmerman, who every day when we talk challenges me to look at the world not through a selfish mind frame, but to actually embrace things honestly, and challenges me to wonder about what really is right and wrong, what really is true or not. I want to thank my best friend, my son, who has so much courage to go to school every day, even when he really doesn't want to do it. I want to thank my best friend, my daughter, who's so brave to try anything with me, from jumping off cliffs to rock climbing rocks. And I want to thank my best friend, my wife, who's so beautiful and so kind and constantly redefines for me the human experience of why we do all this. Thank you all so much. This is the biggest honor I could ever have. Thank you.
Congratulations, Union Middle School's Drew Fosse, Canyon School District's Teacher of the Year. Again, all of our congratulations to our Teachers of the Year, Superintendent Briscoe, President Taylor. I turn the time to both of you to say a few words about our fantastic Teachers of the Year.
And of course, I have to follow Drew. But I can tell you, Drew, you would have cried again if you'd have seen me in middle school walking into your classroom. So before I speak to our wonderful Teachers of the Years, and first I want to congratulate all of our teachers. I do try to get out in the buildings as much as I can, and I purposely try to get into classrooms and sort of see what's happening. If I get invited somewhere, I go. And we do have, I honestly believe this throughout my career, and I've worked in several school districts, we have amazing teachers. And he brought up our instructional coaches, and it's a real critical component in our school district. And I just think that there's discussions taking place among all of you and your colleagues about how we become more effective. And I can feel it and I can see it. It's one of the things that attracted me to Canyon School District. And I just think it creates an amazing culture. And I think, like Drew said, he never realized there were coaches out there like that. And other districts don't have them like that. So congratulations to you guys. But before I speak to the teachers briefly, I want to recognize some other people. Our Board of Education, and you know, they didn't pay me to say this, but our Board of Education, they're committed to these types of events and the discussions. I'm just going to tell you, I can't talk about closed session items, but the discussions they have about our teachers and our staff in general, it's always about how we can support them more, how we can give them more. There's only so many resources, but I can tell you these 7 folks up here, they brag and they talk about the teachers in our district every chance they get, and they will do everything in their power to provide the resources necessary that we have available to us, to our teachers. You have 7 people up here that care about you and about our kids, and you're very fortunate, because I've been around the country and that's not always the case. So I want to thank you for sponsoring this event. Our board sponsors this event. It's a very important event for them, the retirement dinners and things like that. So thank you guys for that dedication, commitment. I want to thank, ever since I've arrived, Jeff and Kirsten and the whole communication staff. You know, they always try to make it a little more special, and they do. They do such a wonderful job because they care. They have kids in our school district. And when they do things like this for you, they spend all day setting up the room, and the amount of work it takes to prep for this is incredible. So thank you guys for setting all this up and serving as host. I want to thank, can we have our principals and school administrators just stand up for a second? Quite a few of you here. Thank you. I know it's impossible. Thank you very much thank you for supporting your teachers. I know obviously it's impossible for everyone to get here, but thank you guys for coming out tonight. And the final group I want to thank before I just speak briefly to our teachers are the family members, the friends, and your children that are here. Raise your hand. Just stand up. Why don't you stand up? So we know. The family members. I got to tell you why. So how many of you have helped your significant other, your mother, how many of you helped them with their classroom at any point in time? Raise your hands. How many of you have sat at home over dinner table and sat there quietly as they told you all the many great stories that they have? Now, some of you are going, I can see some of the dads are out there going, yeah, I don't know, but you got to admit some of the stories they tell are pretty good. They got to admit they're pretty good. So but thank you for supporting them, because I know for sure, being in this job a long time, I know a lot of the folks up here and the long-time educators, you can't do it. You can't do it without that kind of support and people listening to all the things you go through every day. It's really critical. So thank you for doing that for these folks, because they wouldn't be where they're at, I think. But I have one of my favorite songs is by Willie Nelson, and I don't know if you heard it, about my heroes have always been cowboys. Well, I can tell you, when I think of that song, for some reason, I always think my heroes have always been teachers. And it's just true. Ever since I was a little boy, I needed a little more attention than the average kid. And I'll never forget, my mom would show up every single fall and demand a meeting with my teachers. And she would sit down and go, listen. And you could see the teacher's eyes were like this, like, what, my God, what am I getting into? And she'd go, number one, she'd say, he's probably going to break something the first week of school. I'm not even going to question it, just send me the bill. Then she'd say, number two, use any kind of glue you need to get him to sit in his seat, as long as I can wash it off his clothes. And number three, whatever you do, don't give him any sugar. I mean, every year I'd have to go through that. And I look at all of you are looking at me like going, thank God I didn't have him. And you guys were teachers of the year. So I don't know you each personally. I think Drew said it a lot of what I wanted to say. But I know who you are. And I know you get up every morning and you get to work probably for most of your colleagues if you can. If you can't, you're probably doing something at home to prepare for school. I know that you clearly understand what it means to get that human connection. And I think that all of you up here are here because you know without the human connection, you don't get the cognitive connection. You're not going to get the kid to learn. You understand that. You have patience. And you have that knack to calm, to stop a problem from happening before it happens, before it gets worse. And if it does, you send them to the principal. No, seriously. You have that natural ability to do that you just can't teach in college or anywhere else. You have a passion, and you teach with a moral purpose. And I think most educators never think about it, but I think those of us that have been in the career long, and those of you that at the level that all of you are at, I think you serve with a moral purpose. When you come in, you're not worrying about all the ancillary stuff around you. You just get motivated by seeing some of your students that you know none of the other teachers in your school can connect with, and getting them connected to learning into your classroom. Even if they don't progress at a certain scale, you know you connected. You know you got them in the class doing work that other staff can't do because you're able to do that. I think that a lot of you spend a lot of time on weekends working. Time isn't, like I said, you serve with a moral purpose. Time isn't of the essence. You work when you have to all the time to be prepared for school. So as your superintendent, I want to just congratulate you and tell you how humble it is for me to work alongside of you. And I know I don't know all of you personally, but I know if you see me, I want you to come up and tell me. Remind me you were Teacher of the Year. You can brag. It's okay. I know you're humble. That's why you're here. You probably don't even want to be recognized, most of you. But I tell you this, be proud of this. This is amazing to me. And for me, I'm just proud to be here working alongside you, so congratulations.
This has been a wonderful evening, and on behalf of the board, I just want to congratulate again all of our Teachers of the Year. You mean so much to us, you can't believe how much you mean to the board, and this is one of our happiest nights, is to be able to honor you. And Drew, keep up the good work. You've got a long career ahead of you, a lot of wonderful kids. I also want to recognize our foundation and for all you do, and for where you are and what you do for our teachers and all the whole district. Thank you. On a personal note, I just want to let you know I'm so proud of you, because my wife and I are retired teachers, and I know a little bit about where you're at and what you're doing. I know that when you go home at night, your work isn't done. You worry about a student or students in your class that maybe didn't come to school that day with proper clothing or a coat, or maybe they look hungry, or there's a problem and they're not learning at the rate you would like them to learn. And so you go home at night and you worry about them, and you try to think of ways you can help them. And you know, I don't care how old you are in this room, you think back, you've got a teacher in your mind right now that you remember that helped you somehow, some way when you were young. And you know, you'll never get rich monetarily in what you're doing. But when you look back on your career, when you're finished, you'll be the richest people in town. And there will be students that will become something great because of you and what you did. You're in an honorable profession, and I'll tell you, you teach everyone else who does anything in every other profession. The teachers are the beginning of it all. And we're so proud of you and all you do. Hang in there. There'll be good days and there'll be bad days, but I guarantee you the good days will be better and more of them than the bad days. And I see some of you shaking your heads. I know, I was there. My wife taught elementary, I taught secondary, so I saw both levels. And I know, I saw all the papers my wife brought home to grade at night and all that. And I saw all the hard work of secondary teachers and how they worried about their students, how they saw some maybe sliding into things that they shouldn't be doing, how they worried about how they could help them. Be that teacher for those kids. Be that teacher that these kids will remember. And we're all so proud of you tonight. Thank you for being here. Thanks for all you do. And for heaven's sakes, be safe going home tonight. The rest of tonight, you stick around as long as you want. Take pictures, enjoy your family, and want you to know, on behalf of the board, we love you all. Keep up the good work, and thank you again for everything. Good night.
Thank you so much for coming to tonight's announcement ceremony for the Teacher of the Year.
The good news is we'll be coming back here. I'll get this